Hey YouTube, it's Papa Shango here. Today's a good day. It's bright and sunny. Um, it's good weather, and for once I'm going to do a project that's not in the freezing cold. So today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on my FJ. This is part of my FJ project, which is going to include a new bumper that's incorporated with the stock OEM bumper. It's going to include a new winch, and I'm also going to put on my rock sliders. So this is what we're going to do today, and we're going to get started. So first thing you want to get started with here is you want to make sure that you've got plenty of tools. So I've got two tool sets here out. I've got another couple ones I'm going to grab out that's specific to certain jobs that I do. I'm kind of weird that way. I like to have toolboxes that are set specifically for specific jobs rather than having one big giant toolbox. Probably the most important tool, and a lot of people disagree with me when you're doing any kind of big project, is what we see here. These are instructions. These are instructions for all the equipment I'm putting on. Now, granted, you know, I've had a lot of experience with vehicles and everything, and I enjoy working on cars, but I always get the instructions because if a question comes up or something pops up, you need to have a reference to go to. So just print them out. If you use them, great. You know, if you don't need them, also great. But have them ready for you so you're not ripping and running trying to figure out if you come up on something you have a question on. So, because I'm putting in a winch, because I'm putting in a bumper, my winch is over here, I'll show it to you. This will be the winch that's going in. This is a Smittybuilt X2O 12,000 pound winch. So that winch is going to go in here today, and I'm going to install a Pro Comp 3-inch lift kit. That is a heavy duty kit because I'm putting in this US Offroad Bumper. I'm also putting in that winch, and I'm putting in some rock sliders, which you probably saw in an earlier video, which I got ready and painted here. Because of the weight of what I'm putting in, you want to put these things in a certain order. And the reason I say that, and this only applies to when you're putting in a heavy suspension kit. And the reason I say this is because if you run into a problem and you can't finish, you do not want to be driving your vehicle around with a heavy suspension kit on with no weight on it, with just your stock weight on it. Because what will end up happening is you're going to damage something, because it's not designed to be running at its full extension. It's designed to be running with some weight on it. So when you're planning out your project, make sure that you put your project together in an order that's not going to compromise the next step or any steps prior. So just as I have them laid out here, this is how I'm going to put it together. I'm going to put my US Offroad Bumper on first, then I'm going to install the winch. That would mean that if I run out of time today, or if something comes up and I can't get that suspension on, I can still drive the vehicle on its stock suspension. It's going to nosedive a little bit, but I can still drive it with that. But if I were to put this Pro Comp on today, and I can't get that winch and that bumper on today, or those rock sliders, then what's going to happen is this suspension is going to be fully extended, and I'm going to be wearing my parts out extremely fast if I drive my vehicle, and I need to drive my vehicle. So it's the priority here is to get the weight on the vehicle first rather than the lift on the vehicle. The lift can come on afterwards. So I'll be back, and we're going to get started. And we're going to start off with the US Offroad, which is right there, bumper install on my 07 FJ Cruiser. Okay, so the first step here is you got to remove some screws in order to take this front mask off. There's some buttons in here. This is what they look like. This is what they look like. They're down in here, similar to these right here, which you can see right here. So I just used a fork tool like this. You lift the button up. Once it goes up a certain distance, then you just go ahead and you pull the whole component out. There's two 10mm screws here, and you pull those out, and that should release and right here. Let's go right here. And then I've got two two Phillips screws right there. So you get those out, and that should release this whole front mask, and we'll get that on out. So I'm going to get those out, and we'll be right back. Okay, so I've got that off. It took me a little figuring out, and I'll show you what I did. But once you get those two screws out here that are here at the top, that is here in this location, these two clamps out here and here and this location here, it looks like after that is down here, and you can see it when you're behind here, there's these little clips. There's also a clip here, and down here there's a clip here and here, and you can see there's one here that's actually still, there we go, there's one here, it's actually still in. It actually stayed in there. I was gonna pry it out, but I decided to just leave it be because I didn't want to break it. But that's the clip right there. So that's all that's really holding it. So I just used a big screwdriver and just kind of nudge these things out. Now I'll show you the back side here. So you can see right here, here's the clip. So there's that top clip, and then here's what the bottom clips here look like. So there's the other one there, and there's the other one right there. And then that's the one that stayed in. It goes right there. So I had taken these two screws out initially, this one and this one, and then realized that I didn't have to do it because the rest of this is just clipped in. So my mask is off, and I actually think I might segue off here and just take 15 minutes or so. I'm gonna prep this because I want to paint this mask black, same hammered black as the bumper and the rock sliders. So I think I'm gonna segue off real quick, sand this down, buff the shine off of it, and then I'm gonna shoot it with some Rust-Oleum hammered black finish. It'll give it a hammered look like you see there, and it's black, it's fast drying, and it says it's for wood, metal, plastic, masonry. So I think I'm going to do that and shoot that while I have it off. Okay, so now I'm ready to remove the bumper, and it starts off by removing these plastic clips right here. There's 3 of them there. There's 2 here. These are 10mm. You take those off, and there's 6 that line up underneath the bumper there. So you take all that, and then you should be able to just remove the bumper cover. Okay, I'm ready to take this off. I pointed out there was 2 clips here, and here you need to take off. You want to make sure you take off. There's 2 more behind this one. There's one here and here. Get those ones off too. And my instructions didn't include that, and I was having a problem getting the bumper off. You got to jimmy it off a little bit. It's kind of hard right in this area because there's actually a clip that's in behind here that has to come out of this hole right there. I don't know if you can see that. So that makes it kind of a little bit difficult But once you get it kind of loose, the whole thing just pops right off. And we're going to set this down right over here. And now we've got our unit exposed here.